Hey guys, favorite Papa here, and I'm gonna tell you how I got rich. $1 million, 6-pack abs, and... I feel foolish.
Why?
Because I don't have $1 million or anything, man. And these glasses are filthy. I never go outside. I don't even need sunglasses. What the fuck is the point of all this? You know what I fucking hate? Sorry for cussing. You know what I hate?
What?
Those how I videos, like those how I got abs, how I became rich, how I sold a bestseller. You know what I mean? Do you? Which ones bother you the most?
Definitely the ones like how I had abs in like 3 days, or like how I made $3 million. It's like, well, yeah, you made $3 million, but this video is very deceitful.
Yeah, that's my problem with it. It's there's, you know what, when it comes to the writing ones though, the steps they go through at least are valuable. It's just absurd, you know. It's like the ab ones where they're like, I did this many crunches, I did this, my name is Moses O'Connor, and I blasted these out, and you're just like, dude, I feel like you were genetically predisposed to being in pretty good shape, man. Not to mention the roids you don't talk about, which is kind of like the book ones, how I published a bestseller, how I got on the New York Times best list. These are people that did it. So there's wealth, there's wisdom in what they say and their steps, like their editing, how they got into a publishing company, maybe how they started their own. If it's how I published an independent bestseller, it's a long ass title. But the steps shouldn't be ignored per se, and that should be how you kind of frame your goal, as it were. Having the outline of a blueprint, and if you want to build a similar house, then that's totally agreeable. What they have in common, all those videos, and this is where I kind of separate from finding a lot of even enjoyment in them, is that there's just someone gloating for however long. It's just someone being like, I'm the shit, I got the abs, I got the $1 million, I got the best-selling book, and I'm gonna share all my wisdom with you. Like, for real? You're so kind, descending from the heavens and giving us these stone tablets, you know, written by lightning by the hand of some goddess, you know? I don't buy it, because there's a lot of stuff they're not telling you. Like, for instance, with the working out ones, there's the steroids, which, as you and I both know, are pretty prevalent, you know, in people who like to kind of show fitness. For the money, they might not have told you that they were given a large sum by a relative or an inheritance, or that they already had a door open for them to kind of make this money. They might have made $1 million, but they might have already also had a few $1 million, and now this is their way to kind of educate or just build the brand. You know, they might not mention their agents, they might not mention the details of their plan, which isn't wrong. You can find that out on your own. You can see that everywhere. There's tutorials all over the place of how to get things step by step, on how to approach an agent, of how to solicit your material, of how to build your own independent company, the Amazon, the Sparks and Noble, whatever. There's all that stuff. The problem I have with it, and the biggest issue I have beyond the gloating, is that it fills you with a negative basis as to why you're doing it. To me, your writing and why you write should come from reasons that you can't control. This need, this just smoldering inside of you that makes you depressed or physically ill if you can't sit down and write your thoughts out. You feel backed up and just jammed up in your brain, and you need this release. You need that, I know I say it all the time, but you need that therapy. When you watch those videos and you see people succeeding off something that you're also doing, it instills you with something more like jealousy, more like envy, more for financial reasons to pursue your craft. And a lot of us create in some way, and there are a lot of people that get into it for the loot, of course. And if you're a writer and you got into it for loot, no, that was a bad move, man. But you don't do it for the money. You do it for the love. You do it because it makes you happy. You do it because it makes you tick. It's your reason to live, is to create. We all want the best for our creations, of course. These are our babies. These are what we poured our love into. We would fight a bear for them, you know? And you just have to remember what the original reason was why you would fight a grizzly. It wasn't for ducats. It wasn't for loot. It was your passion. It was something that you had to do. It was something that through no will of your own, you can't stop even if you tried. You are away from your pen and paper, your computer, your ability to tell stories, or your instrument, or your craft, whatever it is, and it hurts you. It makes you ache. It's like growing pains, but in reverse. It makes you, and you just, the second you are able to do it, you strum that guitar or write that stuff, your fingers bleed because you've missed it so much. It's not about money. It is about money, but it's not. It's about something deeper. And there's nothing wrong with profit. Don't get me wrong. Like I love me some Fazul for my labor of love. But when the drive comes from a pure, nobler place, you can tell it in your writing. You're not just trying to check boxes, and you're not just trying to make some boring, glib piece of writing that you think people might like. You're doing it for you. And there's nothing wrong with pursuing alternate avenues, you know, to try and gain exposure. YouTube channel, flypelicanpress.com. But knowing the map and having the torches to light your path, you know, is great, because it does take things down a notch. It makes it more accessible. It makes you feel like the paths to success, as Young Boy always says, are doable. But you have to have that rawness in your heart to want to create. If you're planning on finances, if you're planning on loot first and then creating, you're doing it backwards. You should have created something that you feel people need to share, that thing that makes you touch your heart and say, Clementine, you know? You have to really focus on perfecting your craft, doing something that you love, and then when you want to share it to other people, then you can pursue those avenues. And in the long run, game dough, recognize game, you know? And if I know anything about writers, your kids are going to eat very well, and you'll be famous 20 years after you're basically bones in the dirt.